What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Sundown Audio unofficial YouTube channel, where we show you all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes here at Sundown Audio. Today will be the first episode digging in to Tow Piglet. God, hopefully that light ain't bothering y'all. Let's flip around this way. Now it's in my eyes. Hold on, I got a fix for that. Bam, much better. Sundown Audio sunglasses, helping out when that sun's out and bright. You can find them on sundownunofficial.com on the website. Go check them out. They're on there, they're pretty cheap. They work great, they look great. They're gonna help me out a lot today. So like I was just starting to say, we're finally digging in. We're getting started on what I'm calling Project Tow Piglet. This is my Chevrolet Silverado 2500 HD crew cab, 4-wheel drive. Y'all know how it goes. You see it, there ain't nothing much to say. There's been a couple intro videos showing off what we're gonna dig into. I'm gonna start today with the Big 3 upgrade. I think it's a pretty cheap, easy, simple upgrade. I know a lot of people wanted me to dig into something else first, but in my opinion, this is just something real cheap, inexpensive, and very effective for people to jump into off the bat. And honestly, guys, I'm a huge fan of building a solid base first. So when doing that in a vehicle, Big 3 upgrade all the way. Now for doing this, we're gonna be using our Sundown Audio wires. You see I got a spool right here, got a little piece of some black. We got the silver. I know it's kind of white, depending on which one called. We call it silver and black. We're gonna be using the loose wire. We sell this by the spool. You can get it at your favorite local brick and mortar Sundown Audio dealer, or at your favorite online dealer like downforsoundshop.com. These episodes, this entire build is sponsored in part by downforsoundshop.com. I mentioned that in the intro, the how, the why. If you ain't seen it, go back and check out last week's video showing off all the products we're gonna be using in this build. We'll be talking about that a lot as we go, but ton of stuff. Golly, that sun is bright. It's crazy. It's the middle of January here in North Carolina, and I'm out here in t-shirt and shorts. Beautiful weather today. It feels like it's in the 70s. That's why I decided to work outside. Forget trying to get the truck in the shop. That tiny little double door we got there to get through, my truck barely fits. I mean, it squeezes through with literally like an inch on each side. So instead of messing with getting in there, just roll the toolbox out. We're gonna work outside. I guess real quick, let me show off too. This is one of my new presents to myself for Christmas. Brand new Husky Toolbox. God, there's some wind. Hopefully that wind ain't catching the mics and creating hell. If it is, I'm sorry, guys. But brand new Husky Toolbox. You can see I still got some of the stickers on it. I ain't pulled them off yet. Picked this up for Christmas. It was on sale. Great price. Great toolbox so far. Really sturdy. I love having the work surface on top. That was something I really wanted in a toolbox. I know that some people prefer the double deckers, all that stuff. No, I wanted something that was portable. I could roll around just like I'm rolling it out here in the parking lot today. Something I could roll around real easy, store it, you know, most of what I need, and give me a work surface. So this thing worked out perfect. They're pretty inexpensive. This thing was cheaper than the cheap toolboxes at Harbor Freight. I've got a Harbor Freight toolbox too. This thing was even cheaper than the one I went and looked at. Awesome toolbox. Highly recommend. All right, guys, let's dig in, see what we got to work with here. Now, this is a Chevy 2500 HD. It is a gas engine, so this is the 6-liter gas motor. If you got a diesel, they're going to be pretty much the same. It doesn't matter if you got 1500, 2500, all the GMs, 4.8, 5.3, 6.0s, 6.2s. The alternators are all pretty much in the same spot. Because the bodies are all identical. Your grounding points, your batteries, all that's pretty much identical throughout the truck. So a lot of this across the board, regardless of what half-ton, 3/4 ton, which engine, it'll all be similar. Now, real quick, explain what the Big 3 consists of. So essentially, what you're doing is you're upgrading your power wire from, and we'll pop this thing off real quick so we can see better. You're upgrading your main power wire, which is right here. My boot's been pulled up. But this is it's about a 4-gauge wire, if that. So you got about a little 4-gauge wire there. It's tiny compared to what we run in car audio. So it's a wire that, I don't have a good example. see if I can get in here close. Let y'all see that tiny little wire right there. So that's my main power wire. Now we're gonna upgrade that to something of this size, 1/0. That'll help give us all the available power from that alternator into our battery. So that's step number one, is upgrade the main power wire from here, from our charging post on the alternator, run it over there to the charge to the positive side of our battery. Step number two is 2 and 3 are both going to be to upgrade grounds. So typically you want to upgrade your battery to your block, but I'll get in depth that in a second. You're going to do battery to your engine block, or aka your alternator case, and your engine block to your body. So on these things, there's always a good body ground. Get in here right there on the firewall. Right there, you can't miss it. You can see that grounding cable coming down. It runs down to the back of the motor. Good grounding point right there. On your engine on this side, you can literally see, I'm hoping I can get this in here, GND stands for ground. All right, now let me point out, biggest thing people I think underestimate and don't understand, the case of your alternator is the ground, okay? So when you're updating grounds, it's very important. Case of the alternator to the body, case of the alternator to the battery back there. All right, people get too hung up. Let me set this back down. People get way too hung up in the terminology of it, of, oh, you have to do it to the block. Well, it's cool, because the block is where the case of your alternator bolts to, so all that sync together. But to me, the best grounds are all right here, right at your alternator. So that's it. Power from alternator to battery. We're gonna worry about engine block to battery and engine block to body, but more so, we're gonna try and get those grounds as close to this alternator case as we can. So the first step I gotta do, we're gonna check out some distance on some wires, cut some wires. We're gonna run some ring terminals. Now you can get all kinds of ring terminals online, they're great. I prefer, oh, there goes that one. I prefer nice little copper ones. These things are cheap, you can get them online, eBay, Amazon, a lot of places sell them. You can typically even find copper ring terminals like this at some of your local stores like Lowe's and Home Depot. You might pay a little more there for them, but check them out on Amazon, pretty cheap on there. That's where I get a lot of mine from. All right, so I want to go ahead and show you something in case you haven't noticed it yet in the video, and it might be a little pain for me to get this camera and my stick in here, but there's already some Sundown wire right there. And I know I'm crooked. You see them there, it's bolted onto the battery, and it follows down here. Again, hopefully you can see to the engine block down there. When I bought this truck, did great for a long time, and then randomly one day it had a little electrical issue, and just driving down the road, started getting some spikes, some flashes, some issues. If you have a GM truck, something I want to point out, hold on a second, forgive me for this noise, there we go. So I want to point out your main power that comes from your alternator and from your fuse box over here, they run right there to a factory fuse. So I'll dig in here and show you real quick. So there's a factory fuse right here. This is your alt wire that crosses over. This is your wire that goes from your main fuse block and center over there, runs through a fuse, and it comes out this way to your battery. That is really bad for corrosion. Very known for that. My Denali has done it, and this truck did it, where it got some corrosion in there, and as it gets some corrosion, you lose part of the just the contact surface area. It gets a little weak, gets a little bad, and you can start having some little electrical gremlins happen. So in messing with this, you just come in, undo the couple bolts, some sandpaper, sand them down. Just know if you're having any issues, it's something I highly recommend. Keep an eye on, maybe shoot a little WD-40 or some lithium grease or something in there to help with that corrosion. If you have a full-size GM truck that has that fuse block, check it out. I will not be using that coming from alternator, all right? It's gonna stay, I've already cleaned it up and got it fixed, but while fixing that, I thought I had a little bit of a ground issue as well. So I've already added a ground wire. And again, that's real simple. You can see it in there. Bolts are on the top of the battery. This is just factory. It's a replacement battery, nothing special. Ring terminal bolted there. And the other end, try and get in here really well, goes right here, right on the front of that head on the block. There's a bolt where a factory ground goes to. Something really, really important, let me say. When doing a big three, rule of thumb, don't replace wire, add to it. So I'm not going to remove my factory charging wire. It's going to stay. I didn't remove any of the factory grounds. Even when I added that one, which is already one step in my big three, even when I added that one, I didn't remove the factory ground. So all the factory wiring, all that's going to stay just as it is. I'm only going to upgrade from here to there. I'm also not going to run through that fuse block. I'm team no fuse. When I do the main run going to the back, it will get fused. I'm doing the Sundown 1/0 wiring kit. I showed it off in the last video of everything we're putting in here. So it will be getting a fuse holder installed just like everybody else should when doing a big run. But for the short runs from alternator to here, I'm not so picky about those. So we'll not be fusing those. If you want to do it, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with it. Just not my thing. So I won't be doing it. I will be bypassing that, going straight from the alternator, straight to the battery. All right, guys, I went ahead, got my wires made up. I didn't video it. I didn't think y'all wanted to see me just cut some wires and put some ring terminals on. If you need to know, it's real simple. You can cut this wire with all kinds of cutters. I use a set like this. I showed you the ring terminals I got. There's some basic copper ring terminals. Only thing, I'm not going to get into the debate of it. People just argument going on for years. I mean 10, 15 years about the proper way to crimp or solder or deal with ring terminals. Some guys are even picky about the way they crimp them, about what kind of piece they use, whether you use a hammer crimp or a vice crimp or whatever, putting the wire in, soldering it. I'm not going to debate all that. Let me tell you, the biggest thing is just make sure it's tight. If it's on there tight, it ain't pulling off, it's good. I crimp these. They're crimped, they're not soldered. If you want to solder, that's great, it's awesome. I won't even dispute that soldering is an even better connection to hold, to get it firm in there, make sure it will never pull out. I'm not going to agree that you have to solder to get a good connection in here. That wire's in there good. It's making good contact with all this ring terminal. So I'm not going to agree that you have to have solder in there to get the best connection, but I don't disagree that it adds a little more strength to that joint to make sure they'll never pull apart. But I make sure you get in here, they're crimped good, they're solid, they're not coming apart. That's the thing that's most important. Other than that, I crimped them on, got my Sundown audio heat shrink. Show you another. So Sundown audio heat shrink in the silver and the black. This is available on the website, sundownunofficial.com. Check it out. We have it in 1/0, 4 gauge, and 8 gauge. You can buy it on there right now. Look under the, I think it's under the miscellaneous section. So terminals, heat shrink, ready to go. Now, I showed you I've got one ground that I already did because of some previous kind of electrical gremlins I had going on. I'm not unbolting it just to show you. It's there. I showed you where it bolts on to the battery terminal on top, to the front of the block down there. But you can see these. One thing I do want to note and want to show you is the length. So my power wire is about, I'd say about 43 inches. Trying to hold it out and guess. So we got about 43 inches in length for the power, and that's to go from the battery terminal here, follow the factory wiring routing around and coming up here. 43 inches for that. This ground that I'm gonna do on this side is gonna be basically the block to the body. And now I'm measuring from the front, kind of the midway of the ring terminal, front where the wire is gonna push through. So my ground on this side, we're about 24 inches. So we got 43 inches, 24 inches, 2 feet, and I know my ground over there is about midway between the length of these. So if, even I said 4 feet for this one, 2 feet for this one, that was gonna be about 3. So in total, 4, 6, you're gonna be not 9 feet of wire is what I'm using here for this build. Now, another shameless plug. I'm going to be offering Big 3 kits on the website, sundownunofficial.com. You can find them on there. I'm gonna give you run of power wire, a long run of ground that you can cut yourself. This will be one long run. We're gonna offer that with the heat shrink and the copper ring terminals. Everything that you see me using here right now, I'm gonna offer in a kit on the website. So you can buy it, go check it out, sundownunofficial.com. If you like it, cool. If you don't, cool. If there's somebody else out there that does it cheaper, that's cool as well. Just keep in mind that Sundown, nice, big, oversized 1/aught wire. This is OFC, it is tin. Some of the best wire you can buy on the market. There's some other guys out there that have great wire. Not comparing, not saying it's better, but this is some of the best. No, tinned, oversized, OFC. Yeah, it's awesome. So one other thing I did off camera, because I didn't feel I needed to video every tiny little step, I went ahead and just loosened up my bolts. So I got my nuts loosened up here on my alternator, on my ground on the side of the block, my ground there, so I can just pop them on real quick. Again, just to help shorten up the video. I didn't feel like I needed to show y'all me loosen them with a wrench. Guys, if you can't handle getting a wrench and loosening it, if I need to show you that on video, you should probably pay somebody else to do this install. So that's it, real quick, and I'm gonna let the camera roll, show you how easy this is. Again, all I did was just take a simple socket wrench. Every one of these is a 10mm. Factory alternator nuts a 10mm, ground's a 10mm, side the block's a 10mm, even the top my battery post is a 10mm. 10mm wrench, bam, 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 they're loose. So let's start popping this on. So I'm gonna start back here. Real important step. Do not route your wire by anything hot. Nothing hot, no moving parts. Pay attention to things like your steering linkage, exhaust. Yeah. Any brakes or anything, just make sure no moving parts, no hot parts. Keep away from that. Alright, snug this up real quick. Camera can see down in here. I'll pull it over and show you. So I've already showed you this bolt location. Let me just route this wire real quick. Slightly tougher to overlap this than I initially anticipated. Alright, here we go. Snug this down, and then I'll bring the camera in for a close-up, show you exactly where I'm bolted on at. Alright, let's zoom in here and hope that y'all can see it. So that factory ground point back here, just looping straight down to this ground point on the side of the block right here on this alternator bracket. So we got good ground straight to that alternator case. Again, I just kept it real short. If you want to zip tie this up, there's plenty right here to zip tie it to. Keep it from hanging loose. I do recommend that. Not long enough to hang down on any of my headers, anything hot, any moving parts. line you back up. Yep. So next, we got that snugged up. We're gonna shift over to the power. Here's where I gotta be a little careful because I am working with everything live. We're gonna bolt this onto our battery. I'm gonna go and do that first. And then following my factory wiring right down here, we're gonna bring it over. Now these GM plastic covers they use, this actually is not gonna grab. So they got these plastic covers. They're kind of a pain. If you want to cut it off, take it off, that's up to you. You handle it how you want. Tell you what, we're gonna let that sit for right now. Follow my factory wiring down here. Holy cow. Make sure to stay away from everything hot, any moving parts. All right, have to go back and forth real quick. All right, power's fastened down here. And just for the sake of expediency, we're gonna pretend I got it fastened there over the terminal. So let me throw this out there. First step, big three. Very next step, I will be upgrading the batteries. We're gonna be swapping that out for an Excess Power D3400 battery. After that, I'll be adding a secondary Excess Power D3400 battery here in this location. If you didn't see in my intro video, I talked about it. We're doing a dual battery setup. The reason for that is I'm trying to get all the electrical up here under the hood. I'm gonna be really super tight on space back there underneath the seat where I'm mounting the subwoofers, the amps. So I wanna keep my extra battery up here. These GM trucks come with a factory bracket right there. All you gotta do is get the battery tie down, set your battery in, bolt it in, bam, done. It's that easy. And that piece is like $6, $8, something on Amazon to get the bracket to hold it down. I've already got one. So, show you something else. This is part of that Team Down for Sound sponsorship package. Certified base head terminals. We'll also be upgrading these shortly. So when I do the Excess Power batteries here and here, they'll be getting this style terminals. So the ring terminals that I'm using on my battery over there right now, they'll be getting cut off. That's why I'm not in such a big hurry. I ain't worried about showing you me bolt that on. You can figure out how to bolt a ring terminal onto your battery terminal. If you can't, you're probably gonna want to pay somebody to do this for you. So next up, I'll be swapping out that battery, getting my Excess Power D3400 in, mounting these. These are just basically a plug and play style. You will take your loose wire, trim back a little bit of it, plug this thing in, clamp them down. I love these styles because of their simplicity. You just bolt them right onto your battery or whatever you're using as your power source, plug your wire in, bolt it down. No need for extra battery terminals or crimping or soldering or anything. They're just super, super simple to plug, tighten, done. So, shout out, Certified Basehead, downforsoundshop.com. All right, guys, that's it. We're all done. Real quick recap. Big three on a full-size GM truck. You're gonna go power wire from your battery terminal, positive side. Follow your factory wiring over here to the alternator, positive post. Ground from the body, there's a factory one right there. I'm sure you can see it. Coming straight down here to the bracket right beside where the alternator bolts to. Other ground is gonna go from here on your negative side of the battery terminal, following the factory wiring right down here to that one. Hopefully that gets in there good. There's a big old stud sticking out the front of that head. Ground right there to your engine block. That's it. That wraps up the big three. So we're gonna wrap this video up. Hopefully it wasn't too long or drawn out, none of that. I tried to keep it simple, informative. If you want Sundown glasses, they're available right now. Sundownunofficial.com. Big three kits. If you want to do your own, we're going to offer generic kits, wire, heat shrink, ring terminals, exactly what you see me use right here at sundownunofficial.com. You can buy those there as well. Any of your Sundown tees, hoodies, this kind of weather, it's up and down. You're in a hoodie one day, you're in a t-shirt the next. It's crazy, but tees and hoodies, all available there, as well as koozies, lanyards, stickers, all that kind of good stuff. Check it out at sundownunofficial.com. I'm repping my straight clipping shirt. You can get these at DVS Designs. Great people over there. Tons of base head gear. Check them out. That's it. Remember, guys, if you like what we're doing here on the channel, click that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribed. Give us a like. Share with your friends. And until next time, we'll see y'all then.